Hello, Indie Choice readers, and welcome back to another episode of Indie Choice Picks. And today, you guys have asked for it, and I brought it to you directly. I am interviewing today the creator of the webcomic, Tom and Artie. Now, this isn't your average Kickstarter or anything like that. It's actually an ongoing webcomic that you can check out on Tapas. There's actually been a page uploaded today, and I've started reading it, and by God, it is one of the best webcomics out there. If you're a fan of Rick and Morty, if you like Family Guy or any type of modern pop culture, especially with sci-fi, this is something that you're going to enjoy. So sit back and relax as I bring you the creator of Tom and Artie. Have fun.
Let's go.
Hey, Robert, thanks for coming on to the show. You've been really supportive of my Twitter shenanigans that I've been up to lately. So I appreciate you for that. That's been cool of you. So thank you for that. Wanted to have you on the show. I think when I first got started, you were one of the few people who wanted to come on and do an interview. Sorry it took so long. I've been, I was keeping track of everyone who says that they want to come on the show, but they're not done with their project yet. Then I got to come back to them a month later, and it's been crazy. So I'm glad I finally got you on the show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the floor up to you, and you can tell us all about your characters, your comic book, Tom and Artie. I'm really looking forward to it because it looks like a fun dose of action here. So the floor is all yours.
All right, thanks, man. Now, how can I describe Tom and Artie? Tom and Artie, I'll give you the elevator pitch. You have two mercenaries, Tom and Artie, traveling across different dimensions in search of profit and adventure. You have the stoic professional unicorn, Tom, and his cartoon wild card buddy, Artie. Now, when I made this comic, it was actually a very different comic when it first got started. When I first started writing up like the concept of this comic, I was coming out of like a year, like a very long friendship that had just ended,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed something to really distract my mind. So I decided to really get more back into my writing because I always was saying, because like what a lot of people like doing these days is that they say they're a writer, but they don't write anything, or they just like have a whole bunch of ideas and they don't actually do them.
Yep.
And
I know
yeah,
exactly how that goes.
yeah, exactly. And I was just figuring, what, let me be a guy who will actually do my ideas. So, yeah, the first concept of it was actually originally called D Jump. And it was starring two insectoid creatures that were scavengers that were called BBF. And originally, Tom and Artie were antagonists in the story. But as I began writing the concept of the story down more and more, and I began working Tom and Artie more and more into the plot, I just realized, you know what, I like these guys more. I like them a lot. I like them a lot more in their dynamic,
Uh-huh.
and I don't want to get rid of them. So let me just move these other guys out of the plot, put them in the center, and change the name. There's only two things from the original D Jump concept that stayed, actually three. That was the dimensional travel and the term D jump. That's what they usually call dimension hopping. It's just called D jumping.
Okay.
And there was one other character named Ailey who was in the first plot and is now in the current one as well. I work on the comic with. All right, here's another thing. There's basically two versions of the comic that are up right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're on Tapas. You have the main version, which is just called Tom and Artie, that I
Uh-huh.
work with. Where I work with Zhao Chunlin, also known as Sky Sunny MQ. She's the artist. She does the sketching, the inking, the coloring. She's amazing overall. If you haven't checked out her artwork, please look it up. And letterist Micah Myers. Now I know there's some people can recognize Micah's name. He's been like on a lot of other indie books
Yeah,
over
I
over.
think I recognize that name. I think he might have been an artist for some of my other interviewers who've been on the show before. So that name does sound familiar, but I don't have a face to attach him with, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Oh, he's a letterist. He's been on like a lot of different books. He was on books for a lot of different companies. You look up his name, you're gonna see like this long resume of books there that are going along with it.
Got you.
Now, when you have the main Tom and Artie adventures with the comic, what I was really looking to do with the comic was that it is just all out an action comedy style comic. There, because some people have asked me, is there any story elements in this? Is it a flowing narrative?
Because I get the sense that it's kind of like that Rick and Morty kind of shenanigans that go on. Am I in the ballpark?
Yeah, you are in the ballpark, but except without the nihilism and negativity that's there. No, I bring that up because you're not the first guy to mention that.
Well, because that's what I think about. Because okay, the first thing that gave it away was the unicorn, and all the audience can see your picture right now of the unicorn. I'm like, okay, so we see a unicorn, and when people think unicorn, they think, oh, magical, happy fairiness and all this other stuff. But you never see a unicorn who has his bitch face with a fucking assault rifle going from dimension to dimension shooting it up. So just from that by itself and some of the artwork you posted on Twitter, I'm like, this is probably like has a little taste of like Rick and Morty and like it was another show that I used to watch on TBS, like Lost Space or Deep, something like that.
I think you're talking about like that new one that came out about like the that's not important right now because I feel like we're gonna go off topic. If you get me started, I'm just gonna keep going from there.
But I got the sense that it was Rick and Morty, like Rick and Morty-ish. I wouldn't say that you ripped off like Rick and Morty, but you kind of get that idea, like that feel when you're dealing with this kind of
it's because like the whole thing is when I was first writing the comic originally, when they were because I was working on this, and then Rick and Morty came out, and at the time they were originally supposed to use like portals to get to dimensions, and then Rick and Morty came out. I was like, oh crap, I can't use it now. I can't use it now. I gotta come up with a different way.
Yep,
to make sure.
I've been like that for like a long time. I remember when I wrote my first 4 books and I did a lot of character designing for them. There was one character that looked like I don't know if you're familiar with Digimon or anything like that, but
yes, very.
There was one Digimon in there. I think it was Patamon's Mega Form, Seraphimon, and I had no idea like my character after I drew him, and I'm like sitting here watching Digimon. I'm like, man, they look exactly alike, but I don't think anyone's going to notice. I'm just going to leave this alone. But that's like one of my biggest fears. It's like you get famous one day, right? And everyone's reading your book and your bestseller, and someone's like, man, that look like Seraphimon. Do you rip that off? And
no, I've had that happen sometimes because there's always a vibe I want to do with Tom and Artie, because you were right on like the whole going back with how I was saying how the plot works is that it's a very episodic kind of comic where each issue is a different adventure. But issues 1, 2, and 3, the current ones right now, they're flowing the same plot, because the whole thing is that this is the introduction.
Yeah.
And originally I was trying to combine it into just 2 issues, but then I was realizing halfway through, like, no, I can't. This is too long a plot to just like end off on like an easy note. I probably could have, but I just like, if this is an introduction, I need to give people a
little bit more.
Yeah, no, because when I first put up issue 1, I was releasing issue 1 to people. Oh my God, the indie market. There was a reason I went webcomic. It was because of the fact with how the indie market is, it's always hard to get people to read like that new comic unless there's maybe 20 people saying it's good. Not everyone. There's some people who will take a chance and everything, because that's what the indie market is usually about. But it's a lot harder to get people to go into new stuff, especially if it's not something familiar. Yeah. Because with Tom and Artie, I always seem to get the Sam and Max fans, which I'm glad about. I always get Sam and Max fans, or some Rick and Morty fans, or some classic cartoon fans because of Artie, or some My Little Pony fans because of Tom, and some other demographics that I'm not really sure of right now. There's still people that read it, but it was kind of a hard sell to people at the time. Because when I was first pitching around Tom and Artie, this was like something really dumb I did, and I would always say this to the creators, is you don't be pitching your comic to publishers if you only have 1 issue done.
Yeah, like even if like I've learned that if you're trying to go the traditional route, it's very difficult, because a lot of the comic artists, or not comic artists, comic publishers, or even like trying to find an agent, like there's a really big gatekeeping aspect going on there. Like I'm not to knock your work or anything, but honestly, like most publishers, or even just getting an agent, probably wouldn't go with this kind of artwork because it doesn't fit I guess their taste or whatever. They always give you this bullshit ass answer when you get like a rejection letter. We have to be objective, but your work doesn't really fit the market right now. Blah blah blah. Market
No,
changes, stuff like
it's
that.
because I pitched it to like 4 different publishers. I'm not gonna say names because I don't want to put like targets on people or anything.
Mhm,
But it was like I pitched it to 4 different publishers, and it took like maybe like a month. Like the rejection letters started coming in like within that month. The
mhm,
first one was more of a we don't really think this is a fit for us, but we wish
mhm,
you luck on your journey. Next one was, yeah, sorry, we're not really too interested.
mhm.
There was one that was interested, and they wanted to talk to me about it, but at that time they had contacted me. I told them that I was no longer interested in going indie with the project. I was now going webcomic with it,
Yeah.
and that if they wanted to maybe like wait and see where I am in like a year or two, then we could probably talk. The
Yeah.
weird thing
Now,
was the
go
weird
ahead.
thing was sorry, the weird thing was with the ones that told me that was that I told them no like in the summer, and then like months later in December, they send me an email again saying, "Hey, we're interested in publishing your comic." I'm just like, wait, I was like, what the hell? I told you guys no. Like, I told you guys no months ago.
Oh,
Why are you telling me this?
when people smell the money, that's when it goes, and that's actually pretty cool. But I'm gonna tell you a really quick story, really quick, when it comes down to publishing. So I wrote my books, right? The Zenton Chronicles, like years ago, maybe around. I finished the series around maybe 2012, 2013, right?
Yeah.
And between that time and let's say 2017, maybe a little bit of 2018, the number of rejection letters that I got are over 200 rejection letters. And they're still
Oh
coming in
man.
from people that I have literally queried about my books forever ago. Let's say from stuff that is coming in from 2016 that I've queried. I am getting
Jeez.
rejection. Yeah, and they're still coming in. Oh, we regret to inform you that we won't even be looking to offer your manuscript to anybody or anything like that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I think out of those 200 rejections that I got, there was one person who requested the manuscript and then denied me. So looking back on all the stuff that I had to do, craft a query letter, make your pitch, make it sound compelling, et cetera, it took a lot of work. And it kind of opened my eyes because you have this community now who's on Twitter who are creating content such as yourself, right?
Mm.
And they're writing books, they're making music, they're doing animation, they're doing comic books. And these people are literally using platforms like Kickstarter, Indiegogo to actually fund their project and get it into the hands of their designated audience. So
Yeah, but that's another thing too. You see, another thing that publishers are doing and is that when you're sending in that pitch to them, what they're usually going to be doing first is that they're going to read your pitch,
mhm.
and then they're going to look you up on social media to
Yep,
see
yep,
how much of a following you
yep.
have
And if you
already.
have if you don't have a K next to that number that you have,
Yeah, they're not
they're
interested.
not interested. And I think that's kind of messed up too, because you don't know what kind of opportunity you're passing up. Like J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, she looked for an agent for almost 10 years. Like the Harry Potter books were written in like the late 80s, early 90s, right? I think the Battle of Hogwarts takes place in like 96, 97. But
Yeah,
we didn't see the Sorcerer's Stone until 1999, and we didn't see the Deathly Hallows until 2007. So she has literally done the grind, and there's people saying that, and this is before social media was even big. So you got to imagine like how
yeah, it was
difficult it is,
harder. It was harder
super
then.
hard for her. And she was probably sending that shit in on owls too, because there was no email back then either. So she's sitting here typing up query letters, mailing them out, and it's costing her probably a boatload of money to just get a rejection letter in the mail like 2-3 months later. And that's like,
Well, and it's also because it's like it's harder for a lot of new creators to get that 1K because maybe their comic, it's not, a lot of people start their comic and they think that they're going to have like success really quickly. And I mean, I've had some people ask me this question, like in terms of how do you get your comic pitch out there? How do you get like some aspects of success? And I'm just like, it's random. That's
it
it. It's
it is
random.
random.
You could
And
be uploading every day because I see a lot of comic creators who they have great artwork. They have like great story for their stuff, and yet they do uploads and they can not even reach like 10 likes or
Yeah.
5 retweets.
Well,
Or,
you
I,
know,
or yeah, go ahead.
sorry to cut you off, but it kind of brings me to, I don't know if you watched my interview with uh, Mr. Ryan Cardno. He's the creator of Kayas, and like
Not yet, but go on.
he's fantastic because he does not have a following at all. Like this guy does not. You go to his Twitter, he doesn't do Facebook, he doesn't do Instagram. His Twitter has barely 500 followers, and the dude crushed his goal in less than 3 days of him launching his campaign. So I asked him, I was like, how did you do that? What was the secret of it? And he gave me a lot of good answers, like make sure your video and your campaign is great. Make sure that you are getting straight to the point and you're not beating around the bush of what you want your
Yeah,
backers to do. It's very important. But what he said is that it doesn't matter how much of an audience you have. Honestly, that doesn't matter. It matters how much you engage with people. Because you see these
exactly.
people on like Instagram and all this other like nonsense on Twitter and stuff like that. These people have like 20,000 followers, and if you go to their page and look at one of their tweets, they have like 10 likes, and you're like,
10 likes, yeah, 10 likes or like, 2 retweets.
yeah.
It's really weird. And I'm just like, well, I mean, that just fits into a demographic that, or an aspect of the creative community that some people think that they have to do follow for follow, or
Yeah.
that I'm going to follow you because maybe someone else told me to do it. I'm not actually interested in your stuff, but someone else told me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of stuff like that because I mean, I know people who they have tons of followers on like social media for their stuff, and they're either just not really engaging them much or they're mostly annoyed with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have one of my friends, one of the artists I worked with, she's popular in one community, but she does great artwork on like everything else. She does
Mm-hmm.
awesome artwork, and she's working on animations. But she was telling me sometimes when she uploads artwork that isn't related to that specific community, they get mad at her. They
Yeah.
get
Oh God, like Reddit, dude. I had to quit Reddit because Reddit was just like it's just a bunch of like fucking nerds who
so I
are,
can't even, to be honest, I tried uploading on Reddit's comic community
and they'll
before,
just
and
block it like, oh, this isn't
no,
content and vision. Oh my God.
No, I give up on it because I look at their like web comics like Reddit subreddit and I'm just like, well, if you're not some gag a day comic, you're not gonna go anywhere on here.
No,
I
like I
know they
made
say that you gotta be, it's nice to have a presence everywhere, but I'm just like, yeah, you're uploading it on here, you're gonna get drowned out in like a day
it.
unless, or not even a day, like an hour.
It's not even that. Like, okay, when the last Star Wars Episode 9, when that trailer dropped, right? I made a video on it, like just kind of dissecting the trailer and kind of giving my 2 cents on what I think is going to happen in the movie, right? Smart thing to do, right, would be to go on Reddit, look at a Star Wars forum, and post a video there. Dude, I got blocked because the moderator was like, "You're just trying to promote yourself." I go, "It is a Star Wars video in a Star Wars subreddit. What is the problem?
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
understand."
that's one of the issues that's come up in today. It's just that people have this intense addiction to anger. They
Oh,
just want to attack everything. Everything needs to be on the defensive. You
yes.
gotta be ready to attack anyone for any of their opinion that doesn't fit yours. And it's weird because a lot of people would say, "Oh man, I'm tired of like all these dumb comics out here. I'm tired of like Star Wars. I'm tired of this and that." I'm just like, there's an entire market of this stuff right over there.
Yeah.
Literally just go on like Comixology or any of these indie shops and just look around for any of these comics. Just go through the aisles there. I mean, when I would go to my comic book shop, because I where I work at over in Manhattan, there's a comic book shop nearby, Forbidden Planet,
Mhm.
and every time I go in there, I always make like a kind of promise to myself, and I say, when I go into this shop, I'm gonna look for any book that is not DC or Marvel. I
Mhm.
want to get something that's indie or from a publisher I haven't seen before, I haven't read before. That's usually my goal when I go into a comic shop. Because yeah, I'm not really on board with a lot of stuff that DC and Marvel do these days.
Yeah, they kind of went
And because
backwards.
I mean, all I do is just say, I just ask my friends who still read, I ask them what's happening now, and they explain to me. I'm just like, oh, okay, you saved me some money.
Yeah, like the last good story I read from DC was The Flash Rebirth when Godspeed was running around killing people.
Yeah,
After that, dude, I stopped. Like I don't even My comic book monthly is literally Boom Studios, Go Go Power Rangers, and Mighty Morphin, and Miles Morales Spider-Man. Those are my three ones that I read religiously. But I've been gravitating more toward the indie comics because it's like the writers over at Marvel and DC, and I've said this before in other interviews, the writers at Marvel and DC, they're pandering to a community who wouldn't otherwise read the comics. And while
Well,
they're
I
doing
mean,
that,
you
they're
know why?
stealing.
You want to know what that is? Why I say it like that is? It's because a lot of, and I hate to say it's like knocking people. I don't want to feel like I'm knocking people who are at DC at Marvel, but you're not seeing this gate of nepotism that is at DC and Marvel that is incredibly hard to break into if you're a new creator or someone who's even
Mhm.
had a couple of decent books under your belt. And I'm not saying they should be allowing like everyone and their grandma to get in, but at least have a little bit more open space for a new creator to give their pitch for a book, see
Yeah,
if they
for a
can
new
give it a shot.
character.
Give them like, you know, a D-list character or a C-list character. Just say,
Yeah,
hey, try and make a story like this. Start from the bottom, you know, make your way to the top if you're pretty good. But
yeah.
everyone realizes it's no secret right now that the pay rate and everything at Marvel and DC is terrible.
Oh, I
So
bet.
a
Artists are
lot
getting
of
paid crap.
a lot of creators are thinking, why the hell am I going to waste my ideas on Marvel and DC that are going to get retconned in a year when I could just use them on my thing, go
Mhm.
creator, and get all the proceeds to myself?
And you have all the platforms online to do it, and that's great. As long I tell people this all the time, as long as you create, I don't even say create content, but as well as share content or say anything that's going to get some type of engagement, then that's great. See, I know my followers, I know exactly what they're into. They're into like, great comic, great stories, but they're also into, and I hate to say this, but all the SJW nonsense that's going on. Like I posted an article today that, okay, so Robert Pattinson got the role of Batman, right? I'm like, okay. To me,
I'm fine with that. I'm
I'm
like
fine with that.
I'm in a very, you know, I'll wait and see role, because
Let me see the trailer first.
I remember when Robert Downey Jr. first got cast as Tony Stark, and everyone's like, oh my god, why are they casting that drug addict as Iron Man? And then look what happened.
He blew it up. So everyone was freaking out over Robert Pattinson, and me and like everybody on Twitter who I interact with were just like, "Yo, guys, let's wait for the trailer. Like, they're not gonna throw fucking Edward Cullen into a bat suit. Like, that's not that's not how Hollywood works." So today they're talking about some feminist wrote an article about the Joker being a female. Like, they want the Joker to be female, and I threw it on Twitter.
I mean,
And
we had that Thrill Killer comic where
yeah, and
Joker was
we have Martha.
in Flashpoint.
Yeah, in Flashpoint. But see, the thing that really ticked a lot of people off is that the article stated that we should finally get a female Joker. Clearly, like just throwing it out there.
That's
Clearly, just
clickbait.
clickbait. Not just clickbait. No, the article was for real. My thing is that the writer of the article does not read comics. She just wants a female Joker for the sake of making a female Joker. But if you look at all the Batman lore, there are female Jokers all over the place. And
Yeah.
like, you can't take somebody, especially a character who's been established for 40, 50, 60 plus years, and just decide, oh, I'm going to make them girl, or oh, I'm going to make them gay. Like, no, like you have the freedom to create your own character any way you want it. Why would you take something that's beloved to people like me, like you, like all the comic book creators, and just completely trample on it because you feel that it is time for that kind of stuff to go happen? No, Joker
To
shouldn't.
be honest, I can't even, the fact that you can even engage in the Twitter arguments with people or the threads, that's more brave of that to me,
Oh,
because
dude, I fight stupid
I'll
every day.
no, it's just that, you know, people tell me all the time, like, hey, if you start participating and like commenting on people's stuff on Twitter more, you can get yourself more out there and get yourself more followers. And I'm just like, look, I work 5 days a week. I'm
Mhm.
at work basically all day. My only free days are on Sunday and Monday. And the last thing I want to do on my work shift is to constantly be checking my phone because someone on Twitter took what I said in the wrong
The wrong
context.
way. And there are people who say that, like, there will be people who just, they're looking for a fight, and you can honestly tell when people are looking for a fight.
Oh
Those
yeah.
people I normally don't engage with, or if I do engage, I'm super sarcastic to the point to where they don't want to reply
Well, I
because they
mean,
know you're being stupid.
well, yeah, it's just that, I mean, when I go on Twitter, most of the time, the only thing I do on Twitter is that I'll go on a few of my friends' profile who also do comics as well. I'll like and share, like, retweet some of their stuff, and then I'll do like a Tom and Artie update. I only really go on there if I have something to show.
Hmm.
That's it. I'm more of a, hey, let me get on here. Hey, look, the web comic for Tom and Artie just updated today. Here's
Hmm.
the update, or I got some new artwork to show by this other creator here. You can go check it out here. I got it up for you all to see, and then I just log out.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
honestly don't even look at my wall. I just sign in. I go directly to my messages, and just like, if I got any new messages, no new messages. All right, sign out.
Yeah, I used to do that too, and then I learned that if I wanted to kind of do this, like this whole interview thing, I needed to kind of speak out
Branch
more.
out.
I needed to like let people see my face, and I needed to speak out more against these things. And honestly, the people that I've been interacting with on Twitter, they're all just like really cool people. None of them are like super angry, and you can tell like who has their head on straight and who is just looking around like for a fight. And like
Yeah.
normally when someone, and it is great, and I love my following so much. And if you guys are watching, I love you guys. Whenever I get attacked by somebody, dude, I got like 4 or 5 people behind me just ready to spit facts. And it's to the point to where we're not being mean or judgmental. We're not calling names. We're not out here calling someone stupid because they have an opinion. Because personally, I don't like that bullshit. Like
Well,
if
of
you have an
course
opinion,
you wouldn't want to deal with that stuff.
no, you
I
don't.
mean,
You
it's
you
go
you
ahead,
kind
go
of
ahead.
see where people are just looking for a fight, and at the same time, when you get these people calling names and stuff like that, I tell people like kill them with facts, because if they block you, to them somehow that means they won. And I'm like, well, that mentality is just like, wow, you don't want to engage in a conversation.
Dude, I just go on Twitter and I'm just there to share out my comic because, like I was saying with Tom Minari, it's a very episodic,
Hmm.
action-based sort of comic where all I tell people this all the time. Like, if you read the comic and you tell me that you enjoyed it, or that maybe you came home after a long day and just wanted to sit down and read something easy you can get into, because I just go, look, when you read, I was like, look, you could start at issue 0, which is like only 7 pages long.
Hmm.
And that will explain the gist of the characters and the universe to you off the bat. Because how I write things after issue 3, it's all, like I said, episodic. Everything's contained in like a 32, like 25 to 32 page adventure where
Now,
it's one job. And then go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you post like the whole episode at once, or do you do a page by page?
Page by page.
Okay.
Like, it was because it takes a while for us to make these to make the pages, because I'm honestly kind of a perfectionist. So when I get the pages from Sky, my artist, I'm usually looking it over and I'm sending it to my friends who are also artists. They have it look it over. I have another friend of mine, Nick Varela. I usually send pages to her if she wants to look them over, because she's usually the best one that will give me advice on what could be changed or what could be edited. So that's why it took a while for issue 2 to even start to be completed and
Hmm.
start getting released out now. But that was also why I made Tom and Ari Tales. Because the whole thing with Tom and Ari Tales, which is the second version, is that it's shorter adventures, but it's different artists for each story.
And
And
I kind of get why you do that episodic thing, because if you're like me, I write a series, and then my brain branches out to other stories that tie in with the series, and then before you know it, you have a whole universe that you're trying to build. And to me, it's like you only have a little bit of time to actually do all this. And I'm a one man crew. Well, I wouldn't say one man. I do have an ink artist, but for the most part, I do the penciling, the draft, the color, and most of the writing. So it's kind of like that. But I was trying to get into the whole episodic thing because you can crank stories out like clockwork, like clockwork.
well, yeah, there's not really a lot of continuity you have to worry about,
Hmm.
or that you have small references to things that have happened in the past. Because there was a few things that have happened in the story that I did not expect to get popular from Tales. Like, there was like earlier this year, there was a Valentine's Day was coming up, right?
Hmm.
And so at the time, I thought, I'm gonna write a Valentine's Day special, and I'm gonna bring back my artist friend Gilly, who did the first Tom and Ari Tales story called The Runaway.
Okay.
And I brought her back for the story, and I asked her, Okay, are we going to? Oh, you're on the Tumblr page right now, dude.
Yeah.
That Tumblr page has not been updated for a while. You're gonna
Well,
want you're gonna want to go to the Tapastic
do
page.
me a favor, real quick. If you there's a little chat bar up in the corner, type me the link, and that way
Uh,
I can.
Wait, I think it's like full screen right now. I'll get up here right now. The Tapastic page. I'll just send you both the I'll send you both the first one here
Just send it
of
to me
Tom.
if you can't do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
chart of the chat. Send it to me on Twitter. I'm always logged in, so I can just get in
Uh,
and
yeah. All
grab the
right.
link.
All right. I'll just go on Twitter then. All right. All right. I sent you Tom and Artie, and I'm gonna open up Tom and Artie Tales for you to see that. Da, 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 da. Now, okay. As I was saying,
Yep.
I made with like my artist with Gilly. I wrote up this Valentine's Day story, right? The Valentine's Day story was basically it was a straightforward plot. Basically, Tom and Artie are at the main bar location called Bolt Reaction, and Artie sees a Pegasus girl who's at the bar, and he's pointing her out to Tom. He's like, oh, Tom, don't worry, I know we got a major hottie alert right here, but I need you to stay calm. I'm gonna help you through this, and you're gonna get with her before the hour's even up.
Okay.
Tom's going, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in her. Artie doesn't think so. He thinks he's lying when he says what he's really into, which is like the eyes of a woman, like with some of that weird philosophical crap.
Mm-hmm.
Artie thinks, okay, I can work with eyes. So next scene, we get basically this Pegasus girl whose name is Ether.
Mm-hmm.
She gets the classic, oh, here's a drink for you, and compliments of that gentleman over there, and points over. She looks over, sees that it's Artie is pointing the sign at Tom that says, "Your eyes turn me on." And she instantly gets mad and throws a knife right into Tom's shoulder. She throws a knife right into Tom's shoulder. He's just taken back for a second, like, did that really just happen? And then he gets up, pulls out the knife, and tells Artie, you know what? I think I will go talk to her. And the strip ends with Tom and Ether about to get into a fight, with Artie commenting to the bartender Mizoon that, oh, hey, Mizoon, do you smell it? Love is in the air. Mizoon's like, oh, it smells more like anger and bloodlust. Artie goes, well, it's the same. It's the same thing. The weird thing was when I released that, I was not expecting the character Ether. She was a one-off. She was just a
Mm-hmm.
one-off for a gag. But I released it, and I have my friends over in like my Discord service and all that. They were telling me, "Oh, is this character going to appear again? Is she going to be in the main comic? Is she going to be is she going to be canon?" And I was just like, okay."
And
I
that's
was
how you get your audience. That's exactly like you test out a character and you test the waters and see if they're gonna catch. I like that. That was pretty cool.
No, because the whole thing was I was not planning for Ether to be like, it was like I said, it was a one-off gag. But
Yeah.
then I had people telling me, "Oh, is this character going to be in the story? What is she like? What's her name?" I didn't even have a name for her at that point. I had to ask around for some of my friends, like, what do you think sounds like a good name for this character? Because I had a characterization in my head that was going to adapt to her, but I'm terrible at names.
Yeah.
I'm always terrible at names. Names are always something I have to ask my friends, like, what do you guys think this character should be called? Because I'm not really sure right now.
Mhm. I like how
That
you. What made you want to go like? Okay, so we talked about publishing and stuff like that. What made you want to go to Tapas versus like webtoons or anything like that?
It was mostly for ease of access, honestly. Like I said, it was real. I situate a lot of things based off of, do I have time to do this? Do I really have time to devote to this? So I didn't have time to really make a site at the time. I got a friend of mine right now, Jenna Morrow. She's making a site of Tom and Artie for me right now. We're still editing out like the last few kinks, but it was to Tapas was probably the best home I could choose for Tom and Artie as a temporary thing, because I do have a page for Tom and Artie on Webtoons, but I was not a big fan of like the way their posting style works,
Yeah, you have to
which is
like dumb down your pictures and
yeah,
stuff like a
yeah, and I
certain
was just
thing.
like, because yeah, it's like it's more of a scroll down format, and you can see that Tom and Artie is designed with more of a it's a traditional comic format.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had it on Webtoons, I was just like, this ain't working for me.
Yeah.
This I only have issue 0 uploaded on there, and I never really got around to uploading all the other stuff. It was also because I got pissed off with their format size because they only allow JPEG, and I hate JPEG.
Yeah, that messes up your resolution for your pictures. You always want to
Yeah,
save it on like PNG if you can.
yeah, exactly. But I went and with Tapas, it was a pretty good market. But when you're uploading on these webcomic sites,
Hmm.
it's always a competitive thing if you really care about that stuff because you're basically throwing your comic into a massive sea of other comics.
Yeah, that's
It's
like anything, like you write. Like the whole thing is you want to try and get as much visibility as possible, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. So
No, that's hard. That's hard.
yeah,
It's
it's super
honestly
hard.
always a hard tip because the only thing that's really going to get you a lot of updates was more of a, are you updating frequently? Are you consistent? Do you have delays? And like the first few months with Tom and Artie, it was like a lot of delays was going on. Like I didn't start uploading issue 2 until now when me and my team, we already have like almost like the entire comic is done.
Hmm.
Almost the entire comic is done. It's like 26 pages of issue 2, and the whole thing is that around this time that we were getting ready, originally I was going to upload it after the entire thing was done. There's still 3 more pages that have to be drawn, but I decided, you know what, screw it. Let me start getting this out there because I feel like I really need to start getting eyes on this comic because I was seeing that like some of the subs were dropping by like 1 or 2 people. And I
Yeah,
was just like, yeah, it's time to start uploading this. And
yeah.
so I was, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was saying like it was because of like I had to choose a proper update format because when you're going through issue 0 and issue 1, it's all like the entire comic right there off the bat. Like it's all the pages right there. And then when you go into the net into like issue 2, you're getting it page by page, and it's scheduled to be uploaded on. It uploads on Mondays and Fridays, and it's basically like I said, 26-page comic. So all these pages are lasting me until August. I
Yeah,
don't have. And then no, and then next best thing is that also on Tom and Ari Tales, the current story that's on there because Tom and Ari Tales updates every Friday.
hmm,
It's already 13 pages long, and the current story is lasting all the way until like mid-July.
I got you.
So
Okay.
so it's like basically a consistent backlog is built up enough that no updates are being missed right now, which is good because April was just such a bad month for for updates on Tom and Ari Tales. It was because one of the artists I was working with, Roger Bonnet Martinez, really good guy, really good artist. If you have not seen his comic Beast Commandos, please look that up on Comixology.
Okay.
Look that up.
You hear that, folks?
And it was because we were working on the comic, and halfway through when we had like maybe 3 pages left, like the comic, it was called the crossover. It was actually a crossover with a game dev team. I did a mini comic for to advertise their game that is Mystery Egg Studio. It was their gun characters because they let me put the characters in the comic officially with their blessing. I could use them anytime I want, and it was because of the fact that he got sick like halfway in April,
Hmm.
and there was still 2 or 3 pages that were left to go. So I was semi freaking out for like half the month because I was missing so many updates. I missed like three updates, and I was just like I always have a policy that don't ever reply to people you work with mad. Don't ever reply mad. If I'm mad, just take a second, think about it. Just think of it as like okay, they don't do this a lot. He rarely does this.
Hmm.
So there has to be a good reason for why they're taking this long, why they're not posting right now. Don't start accusing people of
Hmm.
like, holding out or anything like that. So I waited, I kept waiting, even when like, the missed updates were tearing into me. And he comes back and he says that he was sick, and I believe him. He wouldn't lie. I would believe him when he said he got sick. So he wasn't really able to finish like the last 2 pages because he had the pages inked.
Hmm.
The problem was they needed to be colored and they needed to be lettered. I had already paid the letterist, so she was waiting for the pages as well. So that was when I called in my friend. That's when I called in my friend Gilly again. I called her and asked her if she wanted to do the coloring, which is good because we all three of us, like me, Roger, and Gilly, we were planning to work on a future project together. So seeing her do coloring work for his artwork actually was very good at the time. Brought her in, she did the color job, and we managed to get the last few pages out during the last parts of April into May. It was a really tough thing, and also because I was like dealing with stuff for the other story as well. Because the top question I always get from people when it comes to working on both of these comics, I always have people ask me, "Oh, how do you pay all these artists you work with? How do you pay like all these guys you work with, and they have like such good art styles?" I'm just like, well, we worked out the payments. We usually go page by page payments. There was a thing that happened with like the current story that the artist on it, she did all 13 pages in one go.
Wow.
And
Okay.
at the time, I was about to go to PAX East, and so she contacts me and says, yeah, I did all the pages right now, and I'm gonna need the money for this, soon." And I was just like, all right, we'll work this out. I was like, we'll work this out instantly. I got her paid. It took me like 4 weeks to pay her. Wasn't that hard. Wasn't that bad. It was not like you're killing me. It was more of, I just think of things as you're working with somebody. You got to do what you said you were gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm a guy that believes that all artists should be compensated, no matter what. I don't like to be late on payments to artists.
Hmm.
I don't like to hold out on them. I always feel like comics should be it's a team effort, and you should respect all members of the team that you work with. So anytime I'm having payment troubles or I got to take care of something, I'll usually let them know that, oh, okay, listen, I'm going to be, you cannot work on the page right now because I'm going to be late with the payment. So don't work on any more until I get you paid. I
Hmm.
usually like to work things around like if it's an update's coming up, I usually will prefer to skip the update if the artist is not paid yet. I'd rather just have a small delay because I'm the kind of guy where I just leave, because my uncle would tell me these things that if you have the money, you pay it off now. You get a bill, you pay it off now.
Yep.
Don't
Exactly.
don't don't procrastinate. Don't say later, because when you say later, it's just going to come up at the worst time.
Yep.
Just
Just
pay
pay
it
it
off
and get it
as
out of the
soon
way.
as you get it.
Can I just say
Yeah,
that I'm
exactly.
really digging your artwork right here? Like, this is really
Well,
fantastic.
Sky does a really great job. Does a really great job with the comic, and I could tell that she has fun drawing it. It was, issue one right here. It was there's. I'll be honest. There's like a lot in issue one. I wish I could rewrite, and that's just from my writing standpoint. Because, like I said, I'm a perfectionist,
Hmm.
so nothing I think is perfect. Like with this introduction here, when you're seeing IAs on right there, the entire point of this desert introduction, you see, was just to introduce how weird their jobs can get.
Hmm.
Like how weird it can get.
I'm just digging
Because
at this art right here. Like, it's all this. Like, I'm just trying to, like, as an artist, try to break it down and see, like, okay, there's a glow effect here. You got a little bit of depth right here. And you got so many different combinations of green to kind of give it that ghostly feel. So
oh, you gotta see the. I'll send you the PNG of that later because the PNG was the really
it
amazing thing.
looks
Like it had.
really good.
That's the PNG. But when you see a high quality version that she did of this, oh my god, the artwork on it is just so. It's got this really intense glow to it, and the stars behind it, she just made look so amazing. But it was mostly when, like I said, this was all just meant to see how weird do their jobs get. Because you have them start off with desert, they have to take out a bunch of monsters in the camp,
Hmm.
and then next thing you know, this box contains this massive energy genie being who was locked in there. And you think this is going to go somewhere, but they just go, you know what? No, we're not fighting some celestial god. We're leaving because
This is
we're
really
not getting
cool.
paid. We're not getting paid enough for this to work.
I like it. This is something that I would definitely like. I told you I was going to read it before, but for sure right now I'm going to read this because this looks really entertaining to the aspect to where, like, which episode, what kind of shenanigans are going to happen in the next issue. Like,
It,
That's what I like.
I'm telling you, like right now, when you got issue 1, 2, and 3, it's all taking place in the because issue 1 is pretty much the introduction of the job they're getting. Because yeah, you're at the page right here where it's basically this magician mob boss named Top, which is on the right there, the rabbit guy in the white hat. It's having a gang feud with this mad scientist gang leader known as the director, which is there on the left.
Okay.
And it's your typical magic versus science type of deal they're having there. I was just adding a little twist of, hey, let's have a gang of mad scientist bikers versus like this sophisticated mafia of like magic rabbits. It just seemed really cool in my head. I was just like, it's freaking amazing. Maybe not amazing, but just like, yeah, it would be pretty visually interesting to draw or to see get drawn.
I
It
think that's what a
was
lot of
all
artists do. They try to find out what's going to be visually like eye-opening when they draw, and then just kind of go from there.
That's usually what I do when I work with artists. Is I ask them how much interest do you have in this project. Did you like drawing it? Because artists I've worked with, they always tell me, oh, I really like drawing this. This was fun to draw for me to draw.
Can I just say that he's a bunny pulling two bunnies out of a hat? That's
Yep, pretty much. I mean, the whole idea with Top is that Top wasn't really meant to actually be a rabbit. He's more just rabbit-like in a way.
hmm
Like his two assistants right there, his right and left hand are like which are Ruger and Luger. They're full on rabbit. They're full on rabbit. And it was supposed to be, you could tell that Top isn't really a rabbit because he's got the long ears, but then you look at his face
yeah.
and he doesn't have fur all over his face. His face is more of a like kind of bearish skin to it.
hmm
And I mean, because like I said, I had the weirdest thing I always had people ask me about this was when issue 2 was coming out, because I always show like a small band of my friends the comic, and I have like my friend reads it because he gets past the introduction sections, and he just asks me, "Is Top gay?" Just like I'm just like, is that really going to be the first thing you ask? He's just like, after everything you've read so far, that is the first thing
that comes to mind. That's funny.
I was just like, all right. I was just like, I'm just like, whatever, man. Just tell me what you think of the writing.
That's cool. Well,
but yeah. Oh, also you passing by Bolt Reaction right there. Bolt Reaction. This is the main hub area of the comic, and this is something that in future issues me and like my artists and anyone I work with, I always want to have like a lot of fun with it, because the whole thing with Bolt Reaction is that it's supposed to be it's the hub area. It's located in a place between dimensions, and it's filled with all these people of different backgrounds. You got thieves, mercenaries, people who are on the run, like ex-scientists. And it was supposed to be this thing we had going on where anytime it goes to Bolt Reaction, there's always something interesting happening in the background. Like you look at the background scene, there's always going to be something happening in the background that should like catch your eye. Like it could be someone's design, it could be what two people are doing in the background. Like, I mean, if you could bring back up the comic, if it's possible, on the page here.
Give me a second. Let me just share the page.
Yeah.
All right. Let me know when you see it.
Scroll up a little bit more. Scroll up, and I'll tell you when to stop. You're going to be scrolling back up to issue 0, and it's like near the end. Keep going. Like almost up. Go down. You got to get to like the last page. Actually, the last page of issue 0. That's the one I wanted to point out.
All right.
Almost. There it is.
All right.
That's the end. Yeah, when you look at that background scene right there, you're seeing you're seeing a lot of things happening in the background right there. You have another thing is that there's 3 characters in there that are actually they're actually side characters. They're actually important and going to be appearing again later. That's the pterodactyl with the afro right there, named Discodactyl. Okay. And the guy with the honey badger head next to him, giving a thumbs up, that's Eddie Haven. And the girl with the blue head in the back, that's Ailey. Okay. And that was like one of the things I regret about issue 1 was not introducing them in that in it. It was mostly because I wanted to focus just on Tom and Artie. And I was just like, well, because I always have a policy of like I'm not going to introduce them if I'm not going to have use for them in the issue.
I got
Be-
you.
so like the first three stories and maybe the fourth and fifth are gonna be more Tom and Ari focused. It was like it's weird when I'm trying to focus with the plot line of because I have the plot lines for the fourth and fifth issue outlined and being written up right. I'm writing it right now.
Hmm.
But the whole thing is I keep wondering, oh man, do I want to do like another Tom and Ari centric adventure, or do I want to do this one that actually introduces Eddie, Disco Dactyl, and Alien into the plot?
That'll be
Because
cool. I can get into that. That would be something that I would ask the people who are subscribed to your Tapas channel. Like maybe at the end of the next issue, ask them, hey, which would you guys be interested in seeing like a new character be introduced, or would you want more of Tom and Artie? And just kind of gauge it from there. That way you can kind of get your bearings in order and kind of figure out where to go from there. Because I realize that if you engage the audience and see what they are looking to do or looking to see, you will get a bigger response than what you originally thought
yeah,
about.
because the whole thing I was playing with is that I could summarize issue 4 and 5's plot. If you're wondering how many issues I got planned, I got like 12 of them planned and outlined, man. It was because issue 4 and 5's plot, right? Issue 4 is basically, as I can describe it, is Tom and Artie meet Starship Troopers.
Oh, that'd be cool. See, I'd
It's
get into that.
it's Tom and Ari meet Starship Troopers,
Oh,
and the sixth one is supposed to be Tom and Artie have to do a babysitting job that goes south.
fantastic. Well, we're kind of coming down to the end of our interview. I have one question for you. Actually, can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, so I kind of started this whole segment to where before I started an interview with creators, I asked my Twitter community to kind of give me a question to ask you, and I got one from Clay Lex.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know the guy.
yeah, everyone knows Clay Lex. Tell me, I know the guy, but he wants to know: did you think your comic book would grow exponentially well within a year you were making? I'm sorry, exceptionally well within a year you were making it.
Oh God, no. God, no. It was because when I first started this comic, I was just thinking this is not going to be a great sell to a lot of people. I mean, there are some people who, they're all about this action and adventure. They just want a comic that they could just pick up and read and just let that be it. They don't really have to have like too much emotional investment into it. But there was like a lot. I mean, because I bounced to Tom and Ari with like a lot of people, and
Hmm.
I could see some ways that people aren't into it. Like there's some people who don't like comics that have anthropomorphic characters as like as the focus. So I turned off one half of demographic, and also the fact it's a very cartoony comic. It's action oriented, but it's cartoony.
I
So
like it. I don't know what everyone else is talking about. I completely love it.
no, it was because I don't have some huge following on Twitter, and every time I see it go up like by a few numbers, I'm thinking, oh, it's probably gonna drop in like two in maybe
Oh,
like a
dude, you
day.
can't be a pessimist like that. You just gotta take the win and keep on going.
I know. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to think about it right now. Because all I do is that I just post updates of what do I think would be visually interesting for people to see. Like, let's see concept art of this new character we got coming up. Let's see the artwork of like all the, of a net of another thing that's going on. Maybe some elements about the universe. Sometimes I'll drop like some hints about this is what I'm planning for another story, or this is another creator I'm working with. I mean, another creator I'm working with is going to be she does a comic called Cyborg Kale.
Mm-hmm.
And no, the whole thing is that me and her, we worked on like a small like kaiju project before,
Uh-huh.
and we didn't start talking again until recently because we found out we both have like a love for kaiju and like be in like monster movies. And so I was always going to have her because originally when I was doing an open call for artists on Tom and Ari Tales, which I still routinely do, like when I get some new story ideas, like in a few months I might do another open call for Tom and Ari Tales artists. She was one of the ones that applied at the time, but I had already made my decision. But I really liked her artwork, so I told her I'm gonna keep you around. We're gonna keep contact. I'm gonna have you work on this small thing, and then when I get room on Tom and Art Tales, I'll bring you in on that.
Mm-hmm.
And as we began talking, I realized where her specialization was in artwork. It wasn't. It might not like it wasn't prepared before, but she's really good at monster designs, really good at like making the monster designs look good or pop. Like she could make them look ferocious. She could make them look. She could make them look cute. And so when I saw that, I was just like, look, there's a character in issue 4, the one with Starship Troopers. And I was just like, I need you to help me design a Bug Queen character. Because I mean, I have complete faith in Sky, my main artist, but sometimes just giving her a direct, this is the design to look at. It's better than going through constant concept art. The concept art, you get me, right? And
Yep.
so when that came up, we started talking, and because the top thing I love is that she will always say like all these monster movies that I know, and I know where she's going to draw inspiration from. And because we'll be talking, she's like, "Oh, I'm seeing something like maybe the Xenomorph Queen, or maybe something from the Starship Troopers movies, or maybe something from like smaller monster movies as well." Like I'm trying to think of something in particular. Damn it, there was one that was coming to my head. I'm not gonna dwell on it. But every time she says that, I'm just like, oh my god, this is gonna look so sweet when she designs. It's gonna look so awesome.
Yeah, whenever I get my inks back from my ink artist, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to see how this looks. Because I do my draft. I'm actually working on a few new pages right now. Just going to show you guys. But people ask if I'm a comic book artist. I go, yeah, I'm a comic book artist to an extent. I do my drafts and stuff like that. But this right here, I send it over to my ink artist, and he inks it. And then I would send this over, and then I would get what he does back. And it's like, wow, I wish I
That
could
look
ink like that.
that looks really sweet, man. Wait, I could actually show right here some of the one or two of the later Tom and Artie pages for issue 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
One or two people. I'm just bringing it up right now. I just want to think of one that's not going to spoil way too much, because the whole thing is that in issue 2 there's an action scene that happens, and I was really hyped to see Sky drawing the action scene, because I was like, action is one of the things I love writing in comics.
Yep,
So
for sure.
I'm just all right. Let me just skip past that one. That's a spoiler. Oh, that's a spoiler too. Oh, this seems good enough. That's good here. All right. All right. Is it showing?
Yep, I got it.
Yeah, this is one of the later scenes in the issue, which is supposed to be that Ruger and Luger, they're waiting for the duel on what is supposed to be a quick job. But I mean, it's this funny comedy scene I just always had planned. It's just that Ruger here is the one keeping an eye out mostly, but Luger, who is into Ruger, is trying to use this as an opportunity to ask him out on a date.
Okay.
But he's completely focused. He's just like, nope, sorry, busy, not really interested right now. And it's supposed to be that it's just hinted that this isn't the first time she's coming on to him.
Yeah.
She's practically throwing herself at him at this point. And she's going, is it just because you don't find me attractive? Is that the problem? And he's going, oh God, here we go. It's just completely that he does not want to date he doesn't want workplace relationships, particularly.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And
that's understandable.
And it's just like all this is happening while the duo are inside this base and they're raising hell. And it was supposed to be a quick job, but this job is turning into something, because if it's a story, something's got to go wrong.
Yeah.
Something's got to keep the plot flowing. But yeah, that's my small little introduction for a new page on issue 2. That was like page 22 actually. So that's a page that's going to be going up in August. Unless you're one of my friends in Comicadia, so you've probably already seen it.
Well, that's we got to wrap it up here. We're going on like an hour, so this is going to be a very long video when I upload it. But you know what? I like I said before, dude, your concept here is something that I would get into, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that would love to get into what you're going to do with this comics and what you've already done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the Tapas link in the description. Guys, if you like this interview, all you got to do is go to my description of the video, click on the Tapas, and just start reading, because as you know, Robert has a lot of fun stuff coming ahead that he can't reveal. So I would say get subscribed to his Tapas page.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be repeated updates, no delays all summer. So you're not going to be delayed with the story. You're going to be getting every page of the story. You're getting 2 versions. You're getting the main comic and you're getting Tom and Artie Tales all the way until August, people. I have a comic right here that's available during the summer when you got nothing to do that you can just keep reading.
Yeah, there's no fall TV going on right now, so we don't get anything until the fall. So hey guys, get some summer reading in. I know we haven't done that since high school, but it's something that you're gonna like to read. So that's taking it from me. And hey, dude, I love this, and I'm gonna start reading it tonight, actually. So I'm excited to kind of get started on this and see where you take us with each of your episodes, because it's gonna be one of those things where I'm just like, okay, what's Tom and Artie getting into today? I can't wait and see what's happening. You know.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear your feedback on it as well.
You got it, buddy. I'll be that loud subscriber that leaves a comment on every page. Just keep a lookout for me, all right?
No problem, buddy.
All right, Robert. Thank you for coming on to the show. I really appreciate you coming and spending some time with me and telling us about Tom and Artie. We're going to have you back on the show at some point in the future. So whenever you come up with something that Tom and Artie is going to get into that you want to announce to your followers and to your readers, please let me know, because I would love to get you back on the show.
No problem, man. Thanks a lot.
No problem, Robert. You have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Episode of Indie Choice Picks. If you like this episode, please, of course, like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you are new to the channel, I welcome you. And if you are any indie comic book artists out there who are looking to get a little bit more exposure with your project, whether it be a web comic like Tom and Artie, Indiegogo, or Kickstarter campaign, just shoot me a message on Twitter. You can find me at heroic_studios, and we can talk from there. So until next time, you guys, I'm bringing you a lot more content in the coming weeks. I'm going to be really busy, but I'm going to do my best to keep on bringing you awesome artists. All right, so enjoy yourself, have a good weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.